You're here because something inside you is screaming that your current reality isn't working anymore. It's that persistent voice in the back of your mind that shows up during quiet moments, when you're driving to work, lying in bed at night, or standing in the shower, whispering that there has to be more than this. Maybe you've been going through the motions, checking off the boxes society told you mattered, but feeling like you're trapped in a life that looks okay from the outside, while feeling completely hollow on the inside. You wake up each morning knowing exactly how the day will unfold. The same conversations, the same frustrations, the same sense that you're capable of so much more but somehow can't access it. Or maybe you're one of those people who's tried everything. You've read the books, taken the courses, attended the seminars. You've set goals, made vision boards, practiced gratitude, and even had some temporary wins that got you excited about the possibilities. But then, almost inevitably, you found yourself right back where you started, wondering why nothing ever seems to stick, why the changes never seem to penetrate deep enough to create lasting transformation. You've probably blamed yourself for this pattern. Maybe you've told yourself you lack discipline, that you're not strong enough, or that you simply don't want it badly enough. But I'm here to tell you something that might change everything. The problem isn't you. It's not your willpower, your character, or your capacity for change. The problem is that you've been trying to change the wrong thing. Here's what I know about you without having met you. You're not lazy. You're not broken. You're not lacking in intelligence, creativity, or potential. You're just stuck in a pattern that's bigger than any single habit change or mindset shift can fix. You're caught in what I call the surface-level change trap, trying to modify your life from the outside in when real transformation happens from the inside out. The reason you're listening to this is because some part of you, maybe a part you've been trying to ignore or rationalize away, knows that what you really need isn't another quick fix, another 30-day challenge, or another motivational pep talk. What you need is a complete shift in how reality works for you. You need to change not just what you do, but how you perceive what's possible. Before we dive into the science of reality shifting, I want you to consider something profound. Everything you're experiencing right now, your relationships, your financial situation, your health, your career satisfaction, is not the result of external circumstances beyond your control. It's the direct result of how your brain is filtering and interpreting the infinite field of possibilities that surround you every single moment. Think about this. Two people can walk down the same street and have completely different experiences. One notices the trash, the homeless person, the aggressive drivers, and returns home feeling drained and pessimistic about humanity. The other notices the beautiful architecture, the young mother patiently teaching her child to walk, the way the light hits the trees, and returns home feeling grateful and connected to life. Same street, same moment in time. Completely different realities. This isn't just about positive thinking or having a good attitude. This is about understanding that your brain is literally constructing your experience of reality based on what it's been programmed to look for. And here's the crucial part. Most of that programming happened when you were too young to consciously choose it. Let me share something that completely changed my understanding of human behavior when I first learned it. There's a part of your brain called the reticular activating system, or RAS for short. Think of it as your brain's security system and personal assistant rolled into one. Its job is to filter through the overwhelming amount of information hitting your senses every second and decide what deserves your conscious attention. Here's where it gets interesting. Your RAS is incredibly powerful and incredibly primitive at the same time. It can help you notice your name being called across a crowded room or spot a car similar to yours in a parking lot full of hundreds of vehicles. But it's also operating based on programs that were installed when you were a child, when your primary concern was survival and belonging. The problem is that this system, which was designed to keep you alive in a much more dangerous world, is now keeping you small in a world full of unprecedented opportunities. It focuses on threats, problems, and anything that confirms what you already believe about yourself and your world. If you've been telling yourself, "I never follow through," "I'm not good with money," or "good things don't happen to people like me," your brain is literally filtering reality to prove you right. Dr. Timothy Wilson's research at the University of Virginia revealed something astounding. Our brains process about 11 million bits of information per second, but we're only consciously aware of about 40 IN. That means 99.9996% of your potential reality is being filtered out based on your current programming. Let that sink in for a moment. You're not seeing the world as it is. You're seeing a tiny fraction of it, carefully selected to match what your subconscious mind believes to be true about you and your possibilities. This explains so much about why change feels so difficult. It's not that opportunities aren't available to you. It's not that you're unlucky or that the deck is stacked against you. It's that your brain is filtering out the very evidence you need to see that things could be different. To understand how to shift your reality, you need to understand how these patterns get installed in the first place. Dr. Bruce Lipton's groundbreaking research on cellular biology and consciousness shows us that our most fundamental beliefs about ourselves and the world are downloaded into our subconscious mind during the first 7 years of life. When our brains are predominantly operating in theta wave states, the same brainwave pattern present during hypnosis. During this crucial period, we're essentially walking around in a hypnotic trance, absorbing everything we see, hear, and experience as absolute truth about how the world works. We learn not just obvious things like language and social skills, but deep, often unconscious beliefs about what's possible for people like us, what we deserve, how safe the world is, and how much we can trust ourselves and others. Here's the challenge. Most of this programming happens non-verbally and below the level of conscious awareness. A parent's stressed expression when bills arrive teaches us that money is scarce and stressful. Watching adults struggle in relationships teaches us that love is complicated and painful. Seeing our parents work jobs they hate teaches us that work is something you have to endure, not something you can enjoy. None of this is anyone's fault. Our parents and early caregivers were doing their best with the programming they had received. But it means that most of us are running on operating systems that were installed when we were children, by people who were operating on operating systems installed when they were children, creating generations of inherited limitations. Dr. Joe Dispenza's research on neuroplasticity offers hope. He's demonstrated that we can literally rewire these patterns through specific practices that combine clear intention, elevated emotion, and repetitive mental rehearsal. But here's what most people miss. It's not enough to just think different thoughts. You have to feel different emotions and take different actions from a different identity. The emerging field of consciousness research is revealing something that mystics have known for centuries. Consciousness isn't produced by the brain, it's filtered through the brain. This means that changing your brain patterns doesn't just change how you think, it changes what you perceive as possible in your environment. Studies from Stanford Psychology Department found that people who practice specific visualization and emotional regulation techniques for just 21 days showed measurable changes in how they perceived opportunities in their environment. They weren't just feeling better or thinking more positively, they were literally seeing different options, noticing different resources, and recognizing different possibilities that had been there all along. Dr. Aaliyah Crumb's research on Mendover milkshake demonstrated this principle beautifully. When people believed they were drinking an indulgent, high-calorie milkshake, their bodies produced satisfaction hormones and their hunger decreased appropriately. When they believed the same milkshake was a low-calorie diet drink, their bodies produced hunger hormones and they felt unsatisfied. Same milkshake, different belief, different physical reality. This isn't just about the placebo effect. This is about understanding that your beliefs literally change your biochemistry, which changes your perception, which changes what actions you take, which changes your results, which reinforces your beliefs. It's a complete feedback loop. Your reality isn't fixed. It's just been consistent because you've been running the same programs. Change the programs. Change the reality. Most people think they need more discipline, better habits, or stronger willpower. Here's what I've learned from working with thousands of people who've successfully shifted their reality. It's not about forcing yourself to be different. It's about removing the invisible barriers that keep you cycling through the same experiences. Think about your current situation. How many times have you started something new? A business, a relationship, a health routine, a creative project, felt genuinely excited about the possibilities, only to find yourself gradually sliding back into old patterns? You might blame it on lack of time, unexpected challenges, or external circumstances, but the real culprit is something much more subtle and much more powerful. That's not a character flaw. That's your subconscious mind doing exactly what it's designed to do: maintain homeostasis. Your subconscious doesn't care if your current situation makes you happy, fulfilled, or successful. It only cares that it's familiar and predictable. So every time you try to step outside your comfort zone, it activates what I call the rubber band effect, an invisible force that pulls you back to what it knows, even if what it knows isn't working for you. This is why people who win the lottery often end up broke again within a few years. It's why people who lose weight through extreme diets usually gain it back. It's why people who try to change their relationships often find themselves with different people but the same problems. The external circumstances change, but the internal programming remains the same. The subconscious mind is incredibly creative in how it maintains the status quo. It will create illness when you're about to take a big leap. It will generate conflict in relationships when things get too good. It will produce urgent distractions when you're about to do something that could really change your life. And it will do all of this while making it seem completely logical and unavoidable. Here's what most approaches to personal development get wrong. They focus on changing your actions or even your conscious thoughts, but they don't address the deeper programming that's running the show. It's like trying to change what's showing on your TV screen by cleaning the screen instead of changing the channel. Real transformation happens when you shift at the identity level, not just what you do or think, but who you believe you are and what you believe is possible for someone like you. When that shifts, everything else starts to align automatically, because your actions naturally flow from your identity. Most people try to change their results by changing their actions, but your actions are determined by your thoughts and feelings, which are determined by your beliefs, which are determined by your identity. If you want to change your results permanently, you have to start with identity. I'm going to give you an example. Someone who identifies as someone who struggles with money will unconsciously sabotage financial opportunities, make poor spending decisions, and find reasons why wealth-building strategies won't work for them. They might temporarily increase their income through willpower and effort, but their identity will eventually reassert itself and bring them back to struggle. But someone who identifies as someone who naturally attracts and manages money well will unconsciously look for opportunities, make wise financial decisions, and find ways to make wealth-building strategies work. They don't have to force themselves to save money or look for opportunities. It happens naturally because it's aligned with who they believe they are. This is why some people can start with nothing and build wealth quickly, while others can inherit money and lose it just as fast. It's not about intelligence, education, or even opportunity. It's about identity. One of the most powerful aspects of reality shifting is that it doesn't require massive, dramatic changes. Small shifts in perception, consistently applied, compound into dramatic changes in experience over time. Think about how a pilot navigating from New York to Los Angeles only needs to adjust the heading by a few degrees to end up in a completely different city. The same principle applies to your life. Small shifts in how you interpret events, what you choose to focus on, and what you believe about yourself create massive changes in where you end up. Consider the story of Sarah, a marketing professional who felt stuck in her career. She had been applying for promotion after promotion but kept getting passed over. Her default programming told her, "I'm not good enough, they don't value my contributions, and I'll never get ahead here." Instead of changing jobs or working harder, Sarah learned to shift her perception. She started asking different questions. What can I learn from this feedback? How can I add even more value? What opportunities am I not seeing? Within 6 months, not only did she get promoted, but she was also offered opportunities she had never even considered because her shift in perception allowed her to see possibilities that had always been there. The key was that Sarah didn't just think different thoughts occasionally. She practiced seeing herself as someone who naturally creates value and attracts recognition until that became her default identity. From that identity, taking value-creating actions felt natural and opportunities became obvious. Let me give you something practical you can start with right now. 3 specific techniques that begin to shift your perceptual filters immediately. First, the morning reality check. For the next 7 days, spend 5 minutes each morning asking yourself, what evidence am I looking for today? Most of us unconsciously look for evidence that confirms our fears, limitations, or negative expectations about the day ahead. We scan for problems, threats, and reasons why things won't work out. Instead, set a clear intention to notice evidence of possibilities, support, progress, or positive surprises, even tiny ones. You're not trying to force positivity or ignore real challenges. You're simply choosing to balance your perceptual diet. Write down at least 3 pieces of evidence you found at the end of each day. You'll be amazed at what you start noticing. Second, the 5-minute identity shift. Before you go to sleep each night, spend 5 minutes imagining yourself already living as the person who naturally has the life you want. Don't just picture external circumstances. Feel what it would feel like in your body to be that version of yourself. How would you walk? How would you speak to people? What would your internal dialogue sound like? Your brain can't tell the difference between a vividly imagined experience and a real one. So you're literally creating new neural pathways and installing new programming. The key is to make it feel real in your body, not just visualize it like a movie you're watching. Third, question your default filters. Throughout the day, when you catch yourself thinking, I can't, I don't, I never, or I always, pause and ask, is this actually true, or is this just how I've been trained to see things? Most of our limiting beliefs are just unexamined assumptions that we've never questioned. For example, instead of I'm not good with technology, try I'm learning to become more comfortable with technology. Instead of I never have enough time, try I'm learning to prioritize what matters most. These small linguistic shifts begin to create new neural pathways and open up new possibilities. Recent studies in epigenetics are revealing that we can change our gene expression through our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors much more rapidly than previously believed. Dr. Dawson Church's research showed that people who practice specific meditation and emotional regulation techniques for just 1 week showed changes in the expression of genes related to stress response, immune function, and neuroplasticity. This means that the changes you make aren't just psychological, they're literally physiological. You're not just thinking differently, you're becoming different at a cellular level. This is why people who successfully shift their reality often report that they feel like completely different people, because in many ways, they are. The Institute of Heart Math has demonstrated that coherent heart rhythms, generated through specific breathing and emotional techniques, create measurable changes in brain function within minutes. People report increased clarity, better decision-making, and a sense of expanded possibilities immediately after these practices. What this research tells us is that transformation doesn't have to take years or decades. When you know how to work with your nervous system and your subconscious programming directly, you can create rapid, lasting changes that feel almost miraculous from the outside, but are actually the natural result of aligning with how your brain and body are designed to function. I know what you might be thinking right now. I've tried stuff like this before. I've done visualization. I've worked on my mindset. I've tried to think positive thoughts. If it was this simple, wouldn't I have figured it out by now? And you might have tried some of these techniques before. But here's what's different about this approach. You now understand that this isn't about positive thinking, willpower, or trying to force yourself to be different. This is about systematically reprogramming the filters through which you experience reality. Most people try one technique for a few days or weeks, don't see dramatic results, and conclude it doesn't work. But lasting change happens through consistent practice that addresses all levels of the system: the neurological patterns, the emotional programming, the identity beliefs, and the behavioral patterns. It's not any one technique that creates the shift. It's the systematic integration of all these elements over time. The research is clear. When you combine specific visualization techniques with emotional regulation, identity-level work, and consistent action from your new identity, you create what researchers call perceptual shifts. You literally start noticing opportunities, resources, and possibilities that were always there but filtered out by your old programming. Think of it like updating your phone's operating system. The hardware is the same, but suddenly you have access to new features, better performance, and capabilities you didn't have before. That's what happens when you update your mental and emotional operating system. Everything we've talked about, the neuroscience of perception, the identity shifts, the practical techniques, the research on rapid transformation, it all comes together in something called quantum Cori. This isn't just another program or course you complete and move on from. It's a complete system designed specifically for people who are ready to stop playing small and start living in alignment with who they really are. Quantum Cori addresses all the levels we've discussed. The neurological patterns that keep you stuck in the same perceptual loops, the identity beliefs that limit what you think is possible for someone like you, the emotional programming that creates your default responses to point, life, and the practical tools and strategies you need to maintain these shifts long term. Most importantly, it's designed for real people dealing with real challenges, not just for people who already have their lives figured out or who have unlimited time and resources to devote to personal development. Because the truth is, the most profound transformations often happen when you feel most stuck, most frustrated, and most ready for something to really change. The system recognizes that lasting change requires both inner work and outer action, both understanding the principles and having practical tools, both addressing the programming from the past and creating new possibilities for the future. It's comprehensive because partial solutions create partial results, and you deserve complete transformation. Here's what I want you to understand. The version of reality you want isn't somewhere out there waiting for you to earn it, figure it out, or become worthy of it. It's right here, right now, being filtered out by programming that no longer serves you. Every moment you spend in your current reality is a choice, even if it doesn't feel like one. Every day you wait to make these shifts is another day of experiencing a reality that's smaller, more limited, and less fulfilling than what's actually available to you. Not because you're not good enough or ready enough, but because you're seeing through filters that were installed when you didn't know you had a choice. You have a choice now. You've always had a choice, but now you understand how to exercise it. The question isn't whether you're capable of living differently. The question is whether you're ready to see what's been there all along, waiting for you to notice it. The opportunities are there. The resources are there. The support is there. The possibilities are there. They've always been there. The only thing that's been missing is a clear understanding of how to tune your perceptual filters to see them. Your reality is about to shift. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when and how dramatically. The only real question is whether you'll be an active, conscious participant in that shift, or whether you'll let it happen to you the way it always has, slowly and unconsciously, driven by external circumstances rather than internal choice. Don't skip this moment. Don't wait for tomorrow, next week, or next year. Don't wait until you feel more ready or until your circumstances are different. Everything you've been waiting for has been waiting for you to stop filtering it out. The shift begins now, with your next thought, your next choice, your next breath. Your new reality is already here. Are you ready to see it? Ready to experience the complete system that makes this transformation inevitable? Quantum Cori is waiting for you.